This Torah class is brought to you by TorahAnytime.com.
Parshas Seitzei, the Gemara tells us in Masechta Sanhedrin. It's an astounding Gemara. We once gave a whole shiur just on these few lines of Gemara, but today we're just going to learn the Gemara by way of introduction. Amar Rabbi Yehuda HaNasi says Gemara in Sanhedrin Daf Kuf Zayin. Rabbi Yehuda said in the name of Rav, Bikesh David Lavoid Avodah Zarah. David wanted to serve idols. Shenemar Vayi David ba ad harosh asher yishtachav Hashem le'elakim. David came ad harosh, and rosh refers to avodah zarah. Shenemar v'hu salma. It was an image. Reishe di dahav. Its head was gold. So the word head often refers to idolatry. David wanted to serve idols. Now, how could you say such a thing about David? David HaMelech, the Regel Ravi of the Merkava. We once gave a whole shiur about many different interpretations of this Gemara. Ayin Sham but now we're just learning it by way of introduction. And who comes to David? And says the Gemara, quoting the pasuk in Tanakh, Chushai ha'arki comes toward David with torn garments, with earth on his head. He said, David, people are going to say a king of your caliber served avodah zarah. So David says that's a better alternative than people saying about me that who people think I'm a tzaddik, and my own son is going to kill me. So what is it going to cause? What are they going to say about the Ribbon Shalom when one of the biggest all-time tzaddikim is killed by his own son? People are going to say, "Les din, les dayan." People are not going to believe in God, and therefore, in order to create a kiddush Hashem, I'm going to serve idols so that when my son kills me, people will understand the ways of Hashem, that there's a retribution in this world. But if I don't serve idols, people are going to question the ways of Hashem. He said, Amar Loi, Melech shekamoisi yargenu benai, a king of my caliber, his son will kill him. Mutav yavoid avodah zarah va'al yischalo shem shamayim b'farhesya. Better to serve idols than to desecrate God's name. So Chushai ha'arki said, hey David, people are not going to have any questions when your son kills you. David said, why not? I thought people think I'm a tzaddik. Chushai ha'arki says, wait a second. Didn't you marry Yifas Toyar? David, in fact, married a Yifas Toyar. David married a Yifas Toyar. Amar le Yifas Toyar. Well, no. My time kanosim Yifas Toyar. Why did you marry a Yifas Toyar? So Amar le, David said, what do you mean why did I marry Yifas Toyar? I married Yifas Toyar. Rachmana Sharia. The Torah permits a Yifas Toyar. Like Rashi says in this week's Parsha, number 2, that you will take the Yifas Toyar because lo dibra Torah ela keneged yetzer hara. The Torah recognizes human frailty and human passion, that when a person goes out to war, the adrenaline is pumping and the passions are flaring, and if somebody sees a woman, they won't be able to control themselves. So, and therefore the Torah says, Mutav Yisena bi heter v'al Yisena be'isr. So David said, that's why I married Yifas Toyar. So Chushai Arki says, yeah, but David, don't you darshan smuchin? In the Torah, right after the Parsha of Yifas Toyar is the Parsha of Ben Sarah Umayra. So David, you married the Yifas Toyar. Your kids are Ben Sarah Umayra, and therefore no one's going to have any questions when your son tries to kill you. Okay, and now we learned a whole explanation in this Gemara. We learned the whole explanation in this Gemara. Why didn't David, in fact, darshan the smuchim? Didn't David know that by marrying Yifas Toyar he would have a Ben Sarah Umayra? And we once learned a pshat from the Chassam Sofer and the Drush of Chassam Sofer, and I refer you back to that shiur. Okay, so from this Gemara it would seem like that Avshalom, the son of David, was somewhat Ben Sarah Umayra. He was a case of a wayward son. The Gemara in Sanhedrin, however, in Daf Ayin Aleph, talks about whether the whole idea of Ben Sarah Umayra actually ever happened or not. The Gemara in Sanhedrin Daf Ayin Aleph says, Tanya Nami Hachi, Rabbi Yehuda Omer, that in order for one's son to become a Ben Sarah Umayra, there has to be a certain criteria. If the mother and father did not have the exact same voice, which is impossible, uvemara, and look exactly the same, which is impossible, uvekayma, and be the same height, einoi nasa ben Sarah Umayra. The kid does not become a Ben Sarah Umayra because the pasuk says, Einenu shomea Big koilenu. Midikal and midikal, but inan shaven. If the voice needs to be equal, mara v'koima nami, but inan shaven. The appearance and height also has to be equal. So basically, it's impossible to have a ben saramara.
The koilenu could be singular. In other words, they have the same voice.
Exactly. The Gemara is dashing koilenu. They have to have the exact same voice. If they don't have the exact same voice, the kid. So Gemara says, "Keman ozla," in accordance with whom Haditanya is the Tanaitic opinion, Ben Sairo Umayra Loihayav Loi Asalias, which Tana holds that the Ben Sairo Umayra never was and never will be. If there was no such thing ever as a Ben Sairo Umayra, and there never will, so then you could erase the number of psukim in the Torah. Why would the Torah have to write about a Ben Sairo Umayra if it never happened and never will happen? V'lama nichtav, so what was it written for? Droish b'kibel schar. The Torah wrote about it for the Koilel and the young Israel over here. It's for you guys. Because Hashem wanted to give you a reward. And if not for the Ben Saramora, maybe I would have stayed an extra day on vacation. Right? But Hashem wrote the Ben Saramora, so I came back early so we could learn and we could get more schar.
That's real important now.
Okay? Kerebi. Okay.
Why the Gemara doesn't give a source for Maria and Koma?
The Gemara says there is no source. It's
no, Kol you have.
No, the Gemara says there's no source. Since the Koil has to be the same, the Mar and Koima also have to be the same. The Gemara says, "Mi the Koil ba'inan shavin, Mar v'Koima na'im shavin." Then the Gemara says, or it could be like Reb Shimon, because Reb Shimon said like this. Reb Shimon's Baal Ba'ikasha. What did Ben Saramar do already? He didn't do anything wrong. He just went out to a restaurant, and he parked himself there for a few good hours, and he went to all you could eat. So because he did all you could eat, which by the way is mamish a davar menuval, disgusting thing. All you could eat, it's disgusting. How could a Jew go to all you could eat? You eat like a human being, not like a behemoth. But anyway, that's not the purpose of today's shiur. So keep that in mind. Anyway, that what did the guy do already? He just did 1999 all you could eat, and already we're killing him, right? Because he ate a tarmitar basar v'shoyse chatzi log yayin hoitalki ave v'imay moitzianoi say lasalkoi. The answer is loihaya loyasid liyos. It never was, it never will be. V'lama nichtav droish v'kibel schar. It's to learn it and to receive reward. By the way, so this might be the opinion of Rabbi Yehuda, who says a Ben Sairo Moira has to be a son of someone who has, both parents have the same voice, the same appearance, and the same height. Reb Shimon says, really, it's not even reasonable we should kill the kid. The only reason we do, it never happened. But Rabbi Yona's son said, Ani Re'isiv, I saw a Ben Sairo Moira, the Ashafti al Kivrai, I sat on his grave.
Wow.
Okay.
How would they...
Now, Rabbi Yisai, here's a question. If Hashem wanted to give us schar, I guarantee you there are a lot of things He could have added to the Torah. Or let's say you were Hashem for a minute, and you're saying, the Torah is missing like 6 psukim. So I want to add something to the Torah to give people more reward. I mean, there are many millions of possibilities at your disposal to create a new thing to learn about to give people reward. So what does Hashem come up with? If a person has a rotten kid who likes to go to all you could eat and drink a lot of beer, you should kill him. Not that ever happened, but I'm just telling you about it, so you should get more reward. That's what the Rebbeinu Shalom came up with to give us more reward. Maybe talk about, there are endless possibilities. Why go in this direction? Why was this selected to be the one topic the Rebbeinu Shalom chose to give Klal Yisrael more reward? So, that is the question of Rabbeinu B'chai. Says Rabbeinu B'chai, V'mkein yesh lishal, v'mnei ma hutzucha Torah l'hidia v'lichtoi ma shaloi haya. Why would the Torah write about something that never was? Uma she'ein inyanoi noyeg b'derech ha'olam, which doesn't really happen. Says the Rabbeinu B'chai, the topic of the Ben Saramora is to teach you the ultimate lesson. This was the wisdom of the Torah. L'lamed das es ha'am, to teach us knowledge. Begoidel chiyov avas Hashem yisbarach, the great obligation of loving Hashem. Because what is the greatest love that there is in this world? A parent to a child. The greatest love in this world, the most altruistic love, is the love of a parent to a child. Sharei ein lecha ava chazaka ba'olam ka'avas ha'av v'ha'em leben. And this kid, he didn't do anything against the parents. His grandmother's been telling him his whole life, eat, es gesund to hate, es gesund to hate. So he took her advice, and he ate gesund to hate. He's not doing anything against his parents.
You steal money from him? One of the things?
Yeah, he did.
All right.
Yeah, sorry, Mario's supposed to steal money?
He did.
All right.
Get
That's the terrible thing. The kid stole some money from his parents. The kivan shaben over al mitzvahs Hashem. There's a darker kasalai. He's a foolish kid. What do these parents now have to do? They have to subdue the love they have to the kid, and let the love they have for Hashem overpower the love they have for their child. What is expected of the parent is to demonstrate that even the greatest love in this world needs to be subdued for the sake of a greater love, and that's the love of the Rebbeinu Shalom. The purpose of the Ben Saru Moira is to teach that one's ultimate love must be for the Rebbeinu Shalom even more than his own child.
Isn't the Akedah a better example?
Chayavim. Now the Akedah is just a story of what happened, but it wasn't a command. And he does bring the Akedah. He says, Chayavim heim shetigaber aleim avas Hashem al avas haben. They're obligated to have their love of the Rebbeinu Shalom prevail over the love of the child. Ad sheyitztorchu lahavi oisai heim be'atzman lebezdin leskila. They are the ones. You can't ask the uncle to bring the kid to Bezdin. You can't ask the third cousin. You can't ask the rad. The parents themselves must bring the child. And says Rabbi Meir, this is already explicit and mentioned by the Akedah. Avraham, even though he loved Yitzchak and Ava Aza, especially Yitzchak was born in his old age, and after they had long given up hope, but when the Rebbeinu Shalom commanded him to be Makriv Yitzchak, he was Magbir, the love that he had for Yitzchak. He was Magbir, the love he had for the Rebbeinu Shalom over the love for his child. And that is why Avraham is the only one called Avraham Oy Havi. Avraham, you love me. What do you mean? Who doesn't love Hashem? No, you love me even more than the greatest love in this world. And this is the purpose of the topic of Ben Sarah Moira. So even though it never happened, and it never will happen, the lesson of the Ben Sarah Moira is that the ultimate love in this world, in everybody's heart, whether you have family, you don't have family, whether you have other people, whatever a person loves in this world, the ultimate Ava needs to be for the Rebbeinu Shalom. And that's the lesson of the Ben Sarah Moira. Now, the Gemara in Sanhedrin Daf Kuf Zayin seemed to indicate that Avshalom ben David was a Ben Sarah Moira. Certainly David and his wife did not have the same voice, they did not have the same appearance, and they did not have the same height. Also, in order to be a Ben Sarah Moira, you have to be a certain age, which Avshalom was not. Nevertheless, the Baal HaTurim says the gematria of Soirer is Ze Avshalom ben David.
Doesn't work.
What?
466 and Zav Shalom ben David, I calculate is 457.
What else?
Well, you have a tolerance of one. It is.
Yeah, so it does work. You just have to figure out how. So the Baal HaTurim also is of the opinion that Avshalom was somewhat of a Ben Saramar, and we'll have to investigate how that could have been. Now Rashi is bothered by the following question. The kid might not be a good kid. He may come home with flunks on, bad grades. He may come home with 60s on his report card. And the Rebbe writes on the back that what in the world are you doing with this kid at home? You're bad parents. Nevertheless, why is the kid chayiv misa? He didn't do anything that terrible. So he ate, he went to all you could eat, and he stole his parents' credit card? Alright. Kids have done worse. Why do we kill the kid? So Rashi says, look, the famous words. Uben soirer umayra nerag al shem soifai. Right now, he's a good kid. But we kill him because of what will be. Higia Torah l'soif daitai. Now you should know, right now he didn't steal anything yet. Soif shemechale mamanov. If ultimately he's going to start depleting his father's money, he's going to steal the credit card, and then after a while, going to all you could eat every single night, there's not going to be any more credit left. So he's going to need to get from somebody else. So he's going to have to rob a bank. He robs the bank, then somebody is going to stand up against him, and he's going to kill. So ultimately, we look into his future, and we say this guy is going to be a murderer. So let's kill him now while innocent before he becomes guilty. Mavakish lemudoi ve'enoi moitzei ve'oimed beParshas drachim. He's going to stand by the crossroads. Umalastein esabrios. He's going to hold people up. Amra Torah Yamos Zakai v'al Yamos Chayev. Let the Ben Saru Moira die innocent, but we don't want him to die guilty. So basically, we project his future, right? Like in his 8th grade yearbook, I once, what is this person going to be when he grows up? This guy's an astronaut, the other guy's an engineer, this guy's, serial murderer. So, we knock him off now. We don't let him get there.
He didn't steal anything yet? I think he did.
Yeah? Says Rashi,
He did steal something.
Uben Soiro Mara Nerag Al Shem Soifai. Nerag Al Shem Soifai. Okay. The big problem with this is that the ways of the Rebbeinu Shem are quite different than this. Rebbeinu Shem does not deal with the person based on the way they will be, but the Rebbeinu Shem deals with the person here and now, the way they are right now. And everybody knows the famous example of this is Yishmael, when the Jewish people, when Yishmael was dying of thirst, and the Malachi Ashar said, Rebbeinu Shem, let him die. Why would you keep him around? Don't you know what his descendants are going to do to Klal Yisrael? They're going to kill them. They're going to make them die of thirst. So Rebbeinu Shem says, look, right now he's a Zisa Yingala. Right now he's a good kid. Let him be. Hashem listened to his voice. Ba'asher hu sham. Right? Rashi says, Lefi maisim shu'oisa achshav hunidan. We're going to judge Yishmael the way he is now. V'loi lefi mashu asad lasais. Lefi. The heavenly angels were accusing you're going to give water to a kid whose descendants are going to cause your children to die of thirst. And Hashem responded, Achshav Mahu, what is he now? Tzaddik or Rasha? So Malachim said, Tzaddik. Amar lahem, Lefi Maisav, Shel Achshav Anidanu. And that is Ba'asher Husha. So the entire concept of Ben Saru Moira flies in the face of the inyan of Yishmael Ba'asher Husha. This is the kasha of all the Rishonim, all the Achronim. I'm going to tell you the basic 5 answers to this question. Okay? The first who we're going to deal with who asks the question is the Moshav Zakenim. Nothing to do with the senior Koilel over here, because you're all Moshav.
This is the Moshav Leitzim, not the Moshav Zakenim.
This is Moshav Zakenim. Yeah. So Moshav Zakenim asks. He brings Rashi that just because the Ben Saru Moira went and ate a lot, you're going to kill him. So it's because we project the future. He says V'hiksha Moiri. What about Yishmael Ba'asher Husham? So that's the question. Everyone get the question?
Yeah.
So says the Moshe of Zakenim v'yesh loymar, loy dummy. There's no comparison, because by the Ben Saru Moira, the reason why we project the future is because he already started the path, which would lead him on to the eventual future. In other words, he's already on hischel kfar ba'averu ba'atzma. He already started sinning. He already eating too much.
So what do you do?
He's already.
Where's that a sin?
He's already on the path. He's already began the projectile. In other words, it's not like we're looking, we're reading his, giving him a psychic reading and trying to figure out what he's going to be. We see from his actions now where he's going to end up. But by Yishmael, he didn't do anything from which that we could figure out what his end will be. And therefore, Yishmael is judged by the way he is. In other words, Rebbeinu Shem only will project somebody's future if their actions indicate what their future will be. Again, because Rebbeinu Shem judges a person, Machusa d'shmaya ke'en machusa da'ara. Rebbe Shalom,
Sorry, Yitzchak an awful lot.
what?
Wasn't he Mitzrayim, Yitzchak?
Oh, even though he was causing Yitzchak pain,
Yitzchak,
but nevertheless,
not enough.
it was, I guess, categorized as regular sibling rivalry.
How do we know that Absalom, for example, wouldn't do tshuva?
He threw arrows
That
at
wouldn't
him.
change.
He shot
I mean,
arrows
if
at
we
him.
project out, does that presume that there's no tshuva possible? How do
No.
we know that?
No, but we take our chances. Better to take your chances, let him die innocent, than give him the opportunity to destroy his life. Okay, that's the first answer to the Mashal Zakanim, and that is we only project the future if the actions now indicate that way, as opposed to if it's just a matter of like prophecy looking into the future. And then the Mashal Zakanim gives another answer, and that is Yishmael wasn't going to do anything to us. It was his descendants. His descendants. We're not going to project. We're not going to punish a father because we project what his descendants are going to be. But a person themselves, the Rebbe Shalom will project what a person themselves possibly will do in the future. He says, "V'gam hu eino asad lahamis b'tzalma." It's not Yishmael himself who will kill us in thirst. Rag zaroi hey masidim lahamis Yisrael b'tzalma. So that's answer number 2. So answer number 1 is only if the actions now indicate what the future will be. And answer number 2 is only the person themselves, but not their children. Okay. The Seitzei Chachamim also brings down this question, and he brings down the Mizrahi, who says the following: that it's a little bit deeper, and that is we need to know more than just the person will be a bad person. We have to see in their actions that their actions now themselves are a beginning of the wrong that the person will do in the future. So, for example, Yishmael, maybe he shot arrows at Yitzchak, and maybe he was Oved Avodah Zarah, but he did not harm anybody with thirst, that from there we would project that in the future he would harm the Jewish people with thirst. As opposed to the Ben Saru Moira, eating a lot of meat is something that somehow directly connects to murderous behavior. And the Seitzei Chacham gives another answer, a very interesting answer, maybe even counterintuitive. The Ribono Shel Olam does not judge a person based on their future. Beis Din Shalmata will judge a person based on their future. Down here in this world, we look at a person and we say, if you don't have a good future, you're out of here. We knock you off now. The Ribono Shel Olam, you would think it's just the opposite. You would think, what do we know about the person's future? We don't really know a person's future. Only the Ribono Shel Olam knows for sure the future. No. The Ribono Shel Olam says, I deal with you the way you are now. I don't care about your future. So Beis Din Shalmato is given license to punish a person based on their future.
So if you have, for example, not somebody's a Ben Sarah Mora. He's a perfectly good yeshiva student, whatever. He graduates, he gets smicha. Right? He's a rav in a shul.
Yeah.
Something happens that turns him and becomes an abuser. And he becomes a murderer.
Yeah.
And he goes completely off the derech.
Yeah.
So does Beis Din Shalmata now have the right to say that when he's 18, 19 years old, he's sitting in yeshiva and learning,
no.
This person...
There's no way for them to know what the guy's future is if there's no indication now.
So it's not just they have to have an indicator.
Obviously. How would they... Well, they're not Nevi'im, they're not prophets. But in other words, when there's...
How do we know this Ben Sarah Mori isn't going to change?
The answer is, people take certain paths in life, and everybody could always do tshuva.
Both ways, Rabbi. You got to have it. If you
No, the opening of path. Let me ask you a question. A guy killed someone, and Beis Din is about to give them capital punishment. So the guy said, "Why are you punishing me? I did tshuva. I just said vidoy. I said rotzachnu, and I said vidoy, and I had charata, and I made a kabbalah that I'm never going to do it again. How could Beis Din kill?" The answer, Beis Din doesn't care about your tshuva. Beis Din deals with this world. In other words, according to the Seitzei Chachamim, according to the Seitzei Chachamim, this concept of nidoin al shem soifai is only a license given to the Beis Din Shalmata, but Beis Din Shamayla does not judge a person al shem soifai. Beis Din Shamayla judges a person ba'asher husham.
And Rish Lakish, what would Beis Din have done with Rish Lakish? The Ghana, Goslin, whatever. But look what he changed his life.
Good. Bezin, it was Ein Yad. No, we don't find that Reish Lakish is a Ben Sarah Moira.
No, but he was not a nice person.
Okay. So if Bezin would have had control, they would have knocked him off.
It's only in the case of Ben Sarah Moira that...
How many Reish Lakishes were there?
I don't know.
Not too many. There's only one person, Reish Lakish. You're right. Anyone could do tshuva. The gates of tshuva are never closed. But bottom line is that the more a person sins, the harder it is to do tshuva. It's very difficult. It becomes difficult.
What percentage of Ganavim became Beis Lakish? Very small percentage.
Right. And what percent of Ganavim became murderers? Much higher percentage. Okay, so that's a very interesting answer. That the Bezdin Shalmata could judge Hashem Soifai, the Bezdin Shalmaila does not judge Hashem Soifai.
So how would Siftei Chachamim explain the Jewish babies which were put inside the bricks by Mitzrayim? Hashem, Moshe Rabbeinu took one out and Hashem said, you will see, he will be Oved Avodah Zarah. So we see that he also did the same thing.
What, that Hashem judged them Hashem Soifai?
Of course.
No, it doesn't mean that's the reason why they were killed. We don't always know all the cheshbonos of Shamayim.
We know because he said take one out and he did take one out. And
is that Bezdin Shalmaila or is that Bezdin Shalmata? Hashem allowed Paroi to kill them.
He knew these babies won't be good.
I hear. Okay, so that's the third answer. That the Inyan of Ba'asher Husham is given to Bezdin Shel Maila. Now the Chida in the Dvash Lafi, he brings down 5 reasons, 5 answers for this question of the difference between Yishmael and the Ben Sarah Moira. But he brings another detail, and that is that the Shvatim, Chazal say one of the reasons why the Shvatim threw Yosef into the pit is because they judged Yosef al Shem Saifai, and they said, why should we let him live? Who's going to come out of Yosef? Yeravam ben Avat. Wow. So we see the Shvatim, who were a Bezdin, right? They convened, and their Bezdin Shel Mata, they also judged al Shem Saifai, and the question is, what about the Inyan of Bashar Husham? So the Chidah brings 5 answers. Number 1, there's a difference between Bezdin Shalmaila and Bezdin Shalmata, which is Seitzei Chachamim mentioned, and that would answer the Shvatim as well. They were Bezdin Shalmata. That's why they judged Yosef al Shem Soifai. Second answer. Listen to this. It's only a Ben Sarah Moira that we judge al Shem Soifai. Because who is the mother of the Ben Sarah Moira? Fastayar. So he doesn't have fully Jewish blood anyway. He comes from Mitipa Psula. So a kid like this, who doesn't have the pure lineage, we judge him al Shem Soifai. However, Yishmael, who came from Hagar, and Hagar were converted, we don't judge Jews al Shem Soifai. Jews we judge Ba'asher Husham. That's the second answer of the Chidah. Number 3, this is the answer the Moshe Zakena mentioned, that Yishmael did not do anything bad. It was his children. So we're not going to judge somebody based on what we project the children to be.
But the Shvatim judged Yosef on what his children would do.
Right, so that would not answer the Shvatim. Okay? Number 4.
So how is it that when it comes to Esau, we call him Israel Mumar, but we don't give this title to Ishmael?
Why don't we call Yeah, that's probably not working with that. It's a chiddush to call Yishmael a ger. It's a chiddush to consider Yishmael a Jew. You're right. Okay. Number 4, the reason why the Shvatim judged Yosef al Shem Soifai is in a normal, objectively we don't judge a person al Shem Soifai, but it's to protect yourself. You're allowed to judge somebody al Shem Soifai.
So how would they be hurt by a king who's more fortunate?
Well, their descendants were in jeopardy of being hurt by the Aseret HaShvatim. Or like this. Really, you don't judge a person al Shem Soifai. So why did the brothers judge Yosef al Shem Soifai? Because Yosef judged the Shvatim al Shem Soifai. Yosef suspected about the Shvatim that all of these things that they're doing, they would eventually it would lead them to bad behavior. So they dealt with Yosef quid pro quo. They dealt with Yosef mida keneged mida. Okay. Rabbi Say, back to the gematrias. Why do we punish the Ben Sarah Moira? Al Shem Seifai. Nidain Al Shem Seifai. Says the Stipler. Stipler very often finds that the comments of Rashi, the comments of Chazar, are the gematria of the words of the psukim. Stipler says the gematria of Soirer Umoira is Al Shem Seifai Hu Nidain. That the gematria of Soirer Umoira is the same as Al Shem Seifai Hu Nidain. Okay. Now, I want to point out that 2 times he's called Bein Soirer Umoira. The first time is Kiyeh Le'ish Bein Soirer Umoira. The word Moira is spelled Malay with a vav. But then when the parents come into Bezin, they say B'neinu Zeh Soirer Umoira. The word Umoira is spelled Chaser without a vav. So why does it have a vav the first time and not have a vav the second time? Well, the Gemara says in Sanhedrin that there are 6 disqualifications that would exempt somebody from being a Ben Sarah Moira. Number 1, if the father and mother were missing their legs, if they were crippled, if they were mute, if they were deaf, blind, or in a city that does not have zikanim. There are 6 exemptions from being a Ben Sarah Moira. Suggests Rav Shlomo HaKohen Mivilna, this perhaps is only to exempt the Ben Sarah Moira from skila. But in order to mechayev malchus, then we would still give a Ben Sarah Moira malchus even if the parents are crippled, missing a leg, mute, and so forth. So says Rav Shlomo HaKohen Mivilna, the first pasuk of Kiyeh Le'ish Ben Sarah Moira, which is speaking about the Chi of Malchus, because it says over there V'yisru Oisai, it's spelled Malay with a vav, because even if you don't have these 6 things, nevertheless you still become Ben Sarah Moira. But the second pasuk, which is talking about the Chi of Skila, it's missing a vav to say that if any of these 6 things are missing, you do not become a Ben Sarah Moira for a Chi of Skila.
Why doesn't Shlomo include the Kolmar and the 6 things?
Because maybe that's the opinion of Rabbi Yehuda. But others say, no, Ben Sarah Moira is a realistic possibility, and they don't have to have the exact same voice. Okay. Now let's think very carefully. Why do we kill the Ben Sarah Moira? Al Shem Soifai Hu Nidan. We judge him based on what he's going to do. And what are we worried he's going to do?
What does it matter then if his parents are missing limbs?
Xeris HaKasa. Why do we kill the Ben Sarah Moira? Because of what he's going to do. What are we worried he's going to do? He's going to kill someone. So, what's the punishment of someone who kills someone?
You kill him.
Which misa?
Skill.
Chenek. So why would we give the Ben Sarah Moira skila if the reason we're killing him because we project what he's going to do? Well, if we're projecting he's going to kill someone, then we should give him chenek. If the projection is he's going to be chayiv chenek, so give him chenek. Why give him skila?
The stones are projected.
The stones are projected, but we should maybe project the chenek instead. Okay, so this question is asked by Rabbi Shulei Diskin. Look at number 14. Maril Diskin brings the comments of Rashi Al Shem Soifai. He says on the 6th line, "V'hu tamua dimkein lama nidan b'skila shi chamura haroit seach b'sayifu." Excuse me. It's we give him the sword. We give him sayif with the sword. Ve'ech yehei ha diyarda tar l'seif da'iter shiroit seach chamur yos milo azamayis v'arag b'vayel de'ena chayv kim b'sayif atar anja skill v'pela. Why would we give him a misa worse than if he would actually have done the crime? If he actually does the crime that we project him to do, then he's chayiv sayif. And now that he wants to do it, so, how could we punish him worse for what he is projected to do than if he actually did it? Well, we do have a concept when it comes to reward, that when you want to do a mitzvah, you get more reward than if you actually do the mitzvah. But l'chayra, when it comes to an aveira, I don't know if it would make sense to say you're going to get a greater punishment for wanting to do an Avera than actually doing it. So, says Rabbi Shmuel Diskin, the truth is that the Averos that we project the kid to do are not only killing. If he's going to kill someone, presumably he would also be Mechal Shabbos, and he would also curse his father and mother, which are Averos that you get skila for. However, just for projecting those Averos, we would never kill him at all. Why not? We would wait for him to actually violate it.
Yeah, I mean, how do you give someone...
One second, but...
penalty without hasra, and before he actually does it?
Well, that's the whole concept of Yarda Tarlus of Daitoi. But in this case, if we project that he's going to rob and kill innocent people, the idea here is, we project he's going to do every Avera in the book. It's just the reason we kill him is, since one of the Averas we project him to do is kill people, in order to protect innocent lives, we knock him off early. But once we're knocking him off, we knock him off with skila, because one of the Averas that we project he's going to do is Chilo Shabbos. In other words, says Rabbi Shmuel Diskin, they're both true. We project he's going to violate every Avera. But just because we project someone's going to violate an Avera, it's not a reason that the person should die young. But what is a reason that the person should be taken away early is that if we project he's going to take away innocent lives, we have to protect the innocent. Now, but if he's going to kill someone, then the death penalty he's going to incur is only Sayif. Yeah, but once we're going to take him away, we might as well punish him for all the Averos we project he's going to do, which are Skila. So really, they're both true. We would never take somebody away al shem soifer for Averos that we project they're going to do, if not for the projection of taking an innocent life. But once we do that, we give him the punishment of Chilo Shabbos. By the way, the Chizkuni, one of the Rishonim, alludes to this very succinctly. He says, Kan Pirish Rashi, number 13, al shem soifer nerag. In other words, we're worried he's going to rob people and kill them on Shabbos. In other words, this idea that he's destined to kill people, not just on a Monday, he would even kill them on a Shabbos, and he would be chayiv skila for that. Very interesting Tosefta. You can't become a Ben Sora Umayra in Yerushalayim. In case you were wondering. You cannot be the Tosefta in Negoim. So if you didn't get up to that Tosefta yet, in Negoim, if you only did the ones in Zra, Moed, Nashim, Nazikim, and Kodshim, and you didn't get up to the Tosefta in Taras, so the Tosefta in Negoim says, Ein Rav Nassim says, Ein Ben Sora Umayra Nasi B'Shalayim. Why?
That's why you don't call Avshalom Ben Sora Umayra, because David HaMelech for the last 33 years lived in Yerushalayim. And the rebellion happened probably in Yerushalayim, no?
But during the 6 months he was running away from Avshalom, I don't know if he was in Yerushalayim though.
Oh, but they did.
Yeah. But during the time Avshalom ran after David may not have even been a king, Bechlal. He may have lost his din melech. But the Meshech Chacham Rabbi Meir Simcha has a very interesting suggestion. And that is, the Gemara Pesachim says that the Azara calls out Su'u Sha'arim Roshechem, and let Rabbi Yochanan ben Narbai enter and fill up his stomach with meat. Why? Rabbi Yochanan ben Narbai, speak about all you could eat. He would eat 300 cows, and he would eat 300 barrels of wine, and he would drink 40 sa. He would eat 40 sa of pigeons just for dessert. 300 cows, 300 barrels of wine, and 40 pigeons, 40 sa of pigeons for dessert.
That was the appetite.
They said all the life of Yochanan ben Narbai, there was never any noiser in the Beis HaMikdash. Okay, there was never noiser in the Beis HaMikdash. Yochanan ben Narbai, he took care of it. According to this, in Yerushalayim, there were Taida and Shlamim, Meiser Sheni, and there was no Noisar. Therefore, what could you expect from a kid? You can't punish a kid who becomes a Zoilo of a Soive in Yerushalayim, because there's a lot of meat to eat over there. And therefore the city of Yerushalayim, where there was a lot of Achilas Kodshim, Meshech Chachma says was exempt from the concept of Ben Soimar. So if you want all you could eat, you got to wait for the Beis HaMikdash to be rebuilt. But until then, it remains a little bit of a questionable behavior. By the way, Chassam Sofer writes in the Drashos Chassam Sofer, Chassam Sofer writes the following. Chassam Sofer says he saw a story where somebody had a child that passed away young, a wondrous child, a child who was Mibnei Aliyah, and the parents were inconsolable until the parents had a dream. And in the dream, they saw their child converted to another religion. And the father was crying, and the father was pulling out his hair. And he woke up and he realized it was only a dream. And when he woke up in the dream, he realized that what the Rebbeinu Shalom did was the Rebbeinu Shalom allowed the child to be Yamos Zakai, Yamos Chayev. And Chassam Sofer commented on this story in the Drashos Chassam Sofer that he is personally aware of the story, and he believes it is a true account. So Lamaisa, Rabbi Yisrael, what we're learning is that there are two hanhagos. There are two ways that the Batei Dinim operate. A person could be judged Ba'asher Husham. A person could be judged by the way they are right now, and that is the way Yishmael was judged, and that is the way the Rebbeinu Shalom and Hashemayim, the Bezin Shamayla, could sometimes view a person. And on other occasions, Rebbeinu Shalom, there's a hanhaga of Shamayim of Al Shem Soifai, where either the Bezin Shamata is given license to judge a person by the way they are destined to be. But whatever hanhaga is used, we know all Komanda Avid Rahman Latav Avid, all the hanhagas of Shamayim are Latayv Ulachesed, and we should all be Zoicha to a Gebenshta Yar.
You've just experienced another Torah class brought to you by TorahAnytime.com.